The intenders of the highest good are honored to bring you The Code: 10 Intentions for a Better World. We arrived in Ashland, Oregon, intending that we find the perfect place for our Intenders Roadshow. Right away, the Circle of Terran manifested for us. It was the ideal location for a very special group of Intenders to come together. From the moment we got there, we knew we were on sacred ground. It was unforgettable. Join us now as we take you with us on the road with The Code.
The third intent: set your course. I begin the creative process. I give direction to my life. I set my course.
I was in Mount Shasta a while back, it was a couple years ago, and had gone there to set up an Intenders Circle. We were in a bookstore there, and it was a wonderful evening, and they did start a circle, and the place was so beautiful that my friend and I, we decided to stay on and camp for a few days, and with the magnificent mountain looming before us. And the only problem is that we couldn't find a place to camp, because this was in August and it was the height of the tourist season, and all the motel and hotel rooms were booked at that time. And the only place we found was a campground about 8 miles out of Shasta town. And we got the last spot there. And the only drawback to this particular campground was that it had no bathing facilities. So you would see everybody lined up along the river in the morning, and with a gallon jug or a container of some sort, and dipping it in the water of the Sacramento River there, which comes out, this is where the source of the Sacramento River is at Mount Shasta, and they'd all be crouched down and with swimming trunks on or something like that, pouring it over their heads, cussing and hopping and muttering the whole time, because the water is ice cold. And again, I'm a Hawaii boy. I'm used to warm water, so, but those were the bathing arrangements. And I'd been there about 4 days, and one afternoon was sitting there with a group of strangers with a couple of picnic tables butted up against each other, just meeting with friends, drinking sodas and talking with people from all over the country. And I remember that particular day. It was one of the hottest days on record in Mount Shasta, and the camp manager had a thermometer on his shack there, and it said it was 108 degrees. So what with the bathing arrangements the way they were, and the heat, everybody was sweating profusely. You didn't want to be sitting downwind of anybody. And so sure enough, I just blurted out, I said, well, I intend that I have a hot shower and get clean now. And they all looked at me like I was crazy, because the nearest showers were 8 miles away. And even then you'd have to rent a motel room. There weren't any, you know, so it wasn't even a feasible solution at all. So we let it go, and it was no more than 10 minutes later, a deer comes scampering through the woods. Again, I'm a Hawaii boy. I'd never seen a deer before. There are no deer in Hawaii. So I'm up and chasing after this deer, and I find myself, all I see is this little white tail bound through the brush and gone. About a 10-second look at the deer. And I'm in a clearing about 15 feet away from where the people are sitting at the picnic tables. And I can see them, and they can see me over the top of the bushes there. And in this clearing is a single tree about this big around. And on the backside of this tree is a broken off branch, about a foot and a half long, hanging up about, arm's height above my head. And hanging on that branch is one of those black plastic solar shower bags left there by a previous camper. which I took off the branch and walked back to the picnic table. So, you know, and the long and short of the story is that by sunset, we all had a hot shower and got clean, and they weren't looking at me like I was so crazy anymore. So, what I'm suggesting to you is that the time is coming when you will have a thought and it will be there. And that these times we're going through, there's an acceleration going on. And you all know it. That something's speeding up. And one of the things we've noticed in the intenders is that the time between the time you make an intention and it manifests is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's wise for us to begin to hold our attention on the thoughts that serve us and discard the ones that don't. And that's the name of the game on planet Earth nowadays, because we're all realizing that our thoughts create our world. That was the first reference point with which we started the intenders, that our thoughts have power, that our thoughts create our world. And so it's just wise for us to be a little more vigilant of what we're thinking as well as what we're saying, because our words are the reflections of our thoughts. And it really helps if you've got a group of like-minded and light-hearted friends who are also staying awake and aware to that, because especially if you're in a couple or if you're in a relationship of any kind, and if one person falls asleep to it and starts saying something that they wouldn't want to manifest in a jillion years, that the other one goes, hey, you know, you might not want to say that way because it's not going to give you the results you're looking for. So it helps if you've got a loving partner or a group of friends who are also staying awake to that, because the more of us who stay awake to that, the more we are able to actually create the world that we came here to create, to birth a new world. Not only individually for ourselves, but for our fellow travelers en masse.